up in Nashville. Tell us about your basketball background as a kid. How did you come to love this sport of basketball?
I wasn't a very good player, so.
Did you play at Franklin Road Academy?
I played a little bit. I played as a JV player as a going into my freshman year, and then I was a manager actually the rest of my time in high school, and then I was a manager in college. But I love the experience. I love being around the game. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the competitions. So that part was really exciting, and I never really wanted to. I had some grand plan to be a college basketball coach. My degrees in secondary education, history and geography. My mom was a principal, so my goal was to be just a history teacher and coach high school basketball. And then I got into college basketball as a GA and never got out.
So how'd you end up at Clemson out of Tennessee? Because usually most Tennessee kids going to Knoxville, or where you're at, Franklin, going to Vanderbilt or something. So how did Clemson come into the game?
I've always been a little bit different, and a lot of people from my high school went to Auburn. Auburn was a really popular school. And so my mom, I told you she was a principal. Mm-hmm. She used to be a college counselor, and she was like, "Well, Clemson's a lot like Auburn. Why don't we go visit Clemson?" I was like, because I like Auburn. I visited Auburn too, but I was like, I really don't. I don't want to go where everybody. I don't want to go. Yeah, I want to go. I want to go somewhere different than everybody else, where I don't know a lot of people.
Right. Yeah.
And so we went to Clemson, and I absolutely loved it and fell in love with it. And I was fortunate enough to get in because in 2001, Clemson was named the Time Magazine Public University of the Year, and so the out-of-state applications went through the roof. And it's a land-grant institution in South Carolina, so they still have to take a certain percentage of kids in state. And those went way up too, competitively. And so I was very fortunate I was able to get in. I don't think I could get in today. I don't think I could get in there today with my test scores and my GPA.
So did you start? When did you start doing it as a graduate assistant for the basketball team there?
So I was a manager for 4 years. I was with Larry Chiat and Oliver Purnell, and then I think Coach Purnell felt sorry for me. He said, "Man, if you're going to go be some poor teacher, you might as well get a graduate degree so I can get you a little bit more money in your paycheck." And he kept me around as a graduate assistant. It was really a 2-year graduate program. And after the first year, an administrative guy left, our director of basketball operations. And, Coach Purnell hired me in that position. I had no business getting that job. I was 23, 24 years old. He could have hired hundreds of different people that were well more qualified than me, but he hired me, and I was very fortunate for that, and I've stayed in college basketball ever since.
Yeah, so you went to Harvard, and then VCU.
I didn't go to Harvard. I coached at Harvard. There's a big difference.
Went to be an assistant coach at Harvard.
I was assistant coach at Harvard. I was hoping to learn some stuff through like osmosis, but that didn't really help.
And then VCU with Shaka Smart.
That's right.
Is that when you felt like this is me, this is it, or did you feel that before going to Harvard? Like, when did you decide this is it?
I knew in college, hey, this is something I want to stick around and try to do and see if I can make a career out of it. I was fortunate enough to get the job at Harvard as a young on-the-road assistant. Worked for a great guy, Tommy Amaker, who's still the head coach at Harvard and has done a tremendous job. And then so Shaka Smart and I, who was the head coach at VCU, who hired me, we were on staff at Clemson together. When I was the ops guy, he was an assistant, and so we spent a year together and were really close, became close. And he hired me at VCU, and little did we know the tremendous ride and the tremendous amount of success he would have there. And
right.
I was able to parlay that into some other good gigs.
Well, let's talk about that success first, though. What was it like going with VCU to the Final Four?
It was wild. Just one of those, just a magical month. We hit a ton of threes. We had some really good matchups, and things just fell right for us. So it was a tremendous month, and it changed. Look, it changed everybody's life. Shaka's obviously done a great job. I'm a head coach. Mike Jones was one of our other assistants. He's the head coach at UNC Greensboro right now. Mike Rhodes was our other assistant. He's the head coach at Penn State. We had Kyle Getter on staff. He's the top assistant at Notre Dame. Mike Morrell was on staff. He's the head coach at UNC Asheville. And all of our graduate assistants or assistants just about Brandon Chambers was our student assistant. He works for me here, or works with me here. Donnie Lind was on our video staff. he's with Mike Jones at UNC Greensboro. So like, I mean, Justin Levine was one of our GAs. He's with Mike Morrell at UNC Asheville. So it's just everybody benefited greatly from that. Joey Rodriguez, our point guard on that team, is an assistant at Florida International with Jeremy Ballard, who was an assistant after the Final Four run at VCU. So Joey's his assistant, and Jesse Bopp, one of our GAs on the Final Four run, is the other assistant. So just kind of a crazy deal. And it changed.
Changed like it needs to be a whole book then, right?
Changed a lot of lives.
Yeah. So then you go to Chattanooga, first head coaching job. What was it like to finally be the head coach, the guy?
It's different, it's different. I was very, very fortunate that the athletic director at Chattanooga hired me. He picked me over probably more qualified candidates, but the program was in a tough spot, so we felt like he needed to roll the dice and do something bold and see if it would work. It's like I told him, what do you got to lose? Can't be any worse than what we are right now, so we might as well try it. And
right, yeah, so
I found somebody that was dumb enough to bite on it, and so but he's a great guy, David Blackburn, who was the athletic director there. He's at East Tennessee State now, but just a really, really good guy. And we were fortunate. We took over and we were able to put it together and win some games over those 2 years and be able to get the opportunity to go back to VCU.
Yeah, then you're back to VCU. You win the A-10 championship or the regular season championship there. Keep the team going to the tournament. Then you go to LSU. I mean, what was it like now? Like first you go back to VCU. What was it like going back home in a sense, I guess?
It was great. It was very, very difficult. You're taking over for Shaka Smart,
right,
who was an absolute legend. You had to keep the program performing at a high level and moving at a high level, which fortunately we were able to do. We won an NCAA tournament game that first year. We beat Oregon State, and we lost close to Oklahoma, who ended up going to the Final Four. We lost a close game to them. One that we could have won. But, VCU is a great experience. It's a great place, unbelievable fans. When I was there as a head coach, I probably didn't appreciate it nearly as much as I should have. I was just so gung-ho. I wanted boom, 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 just looking for the next thing all the time. But it's a special place. They got great fans, passionate fans. When I got to LSU and we were talking about it, and I'm like, oh man, we don't just sell out the arena, because that's what we did every game at VCU. Yeah. I mean, the place was packed. You didn't have to do any marketing. You didn't have to do any of that stuff. It was like, all right, they just show up. The students, they don't just show up. Yeah, they just show up. And so you realize once you're out of that bubble, so to speak, really how special and how unique it is there. And so I loved my time there. I loved my time as an assistant. I loved my time as the head coach. But like I said, I probably just didn't have the level of appreciation for it that I do now, looking back on it.
All right, and then LSU. Now you're at the big Power 5 conference school. Was that? I mean, like I said, you went to Clemson. You were at Clemson, but was that like a culture shock after coaching at Harvard and VCU and Chattanooga? Was LSU a culture shock in a sense, or what was that like?
It was different. I realized early on, hey, this is gonna be different. But I loved every minute till the day they fired me there. There's not one day or 1 minute I would take back from my experience at LSU. It was a blast, a lot of highs, few lows, but no, I mean, you never know exactly what you're getting into. I'd never visited the campus. I'd been to Louisiana maybe a couple times for recruiting. I hadn't been down in Louisiana all that much when I took the job, and so certainly there was an adjustment, and there was a learning curve there. But I've never you go to a lot of places, and just we had when we were at LSU, we had such a connection with the fans and with the people that I hadn't really experienced it everywhere else, and so I think that made it a special experience.
Now Louisiana in itself is its own breed. So you're like me, coming from Tennessee, technically to Louisiana. I was stunned by like drive-through daiquiri shacks and whatnot. What has surprised you most? Like, you've been here now for a few years, but what were some initial culture shocks that you noticed when you came down to the Bayou country?
I didn't. It's funny. I was talking to some folks like my first couple of weeks here, and they kept saying they're going to camp. They're going to camp. And I'm like, they're going to camp? Everybody down here camps. Like, where? And I didn't realize it was like their fishing camp, like a real house. Like, I thought they were going to actually like, to camp or whatever. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand all that. So, it takes some adjustment and getting used to. It's certainly a unique culture, the best people in the world, some of the best sporting in the world, and so it's been fun. I consider this, home right now.
Right. So you had a year off after the LSU ordeal. What did you take away?
It's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, try. What did you take away from that year off?
Well, I was able to. I did some consulting work for an NBA team. I did some work, so I was able to learn and do some things I wouldn't have. I was able to go to practices. When you're in season, you're just worried about your practice.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see anybody else practice. You don't have a lot of time to worry about other folks, and so I think my ability to get out and maneuver and get around and see some other folks and get some new ideas was certainly refreshing during that time off.
All right. So why McNeese? Why here? Like I said, you're breaking that sabbatical. I would say some people would look at you as a wonder kid coming up as a coach. Like I said, you're constantly making those moves. Every team you go to, you're improving. You're making better. You're rebuilding programs. So, what drew you here? Why McNeese?
Well, I think the first part was it's an area I'm familiar with in Louisiana. I knew a lot of folks down here, somewhere I was familiar with. I knew the athletic director, he's Schroyer, very, very well. I've known Coach Schroyer for a long time, and so I had a very high level of comfort with him and his support and his ability to get us the resources that we needed to win at the level that we all want to win at, here. So I just felt like it was the right time. I felt like, look, my career needed a little bit of a reboot, and I think the basketball program here needed a little bit of the same. The community here needs it after the hurricanes, and hopefully we can do that for everybody in the community and everybody who loves McNeese.
All right. So as you did that, you brought a lot of players in through the transfer portal and whatnot. Can you talk about just maybe how the new transfer portal rules have changed college basketball, especially for schools like McNeese?
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, you got to coach. You're not going to be able to build a program. You just got to build a team every year, and I mean, it's just going to be a high volume of turnover. It's going to be a lot of roster turnover, and you've just got to be able to manage that and to build that. But look, I think we've brought in some high quality basketball players, some really high quality people, and if you get that, you got a good chance to turn it and win. And so that's what we're here to do.
So what expectations do you have for the team this year yourself versus, I'm sure you've heard expectations around the town and whatnot, what they're hoping to see from McNeese. So how do you balance that? And then, like I said, I think the high expectation level from the city of Lake Charles and whatnot.
I think that's great. I mean, look, you want high expectation level. That means people care. Mm-hmm. If you got low expectations, nobody cares. And so I think the ability to have high expectations is good. And I promise you, whatever the external expectations are, our internal expectations are even higher. But we want to be a team that competes at the top of the Southland and has a chance to earn the NCAA bid, for the Southland in the Southland Conference tournament. And so that's ultimately our goal. That's ultimately what we want to do. Now, that's a big picture goal. We got to do stuff every day to work towards that and to make sure we're heading towards that. But I really want to be able to deliver a championship to McNeese, deliver a championship to this area.
So you're suspended for the first 10 games of the season, but you're getting your assistant coaches, basically some head coaching time and experience. So is there really a silver lining maybe to this in some ways for your team? Like I said, getting kind of all those perspectives and whatnot?
I think it'll be good for us. I really do. I think, sometimes, I don't do very well in neutral. Like, we're driving hard all the time. It's pedal to the metal. And so I think having my assistants for the, coach some of the games and not having me around on game day can be a positive in some respects for the guys. But my assistants are well prepared. They've been with me for a while. They know what we do. Just hand it over to them, and they'll do a tremendous job. Brandon and Vernon are both going to be head coaches and in the near future, and this is great experience for them. And our players respect them, and our players know they know what they're doing, and we prepare as best we can, and then hand it off to them, and they do a tremendous job.
All right, so what are your overall thoughts about Lake Charles? You've been here now for a few months. Have you found a favorite place to eat yet? Things like that?
Oh yeah, we got a few spots we frequent. We got a lunch spot we go to almost 2 or 3 days a week, and so we try to rotate it between a lot of local spots. But it's great food, great people. People are tremendous. I always tell people I think Lake Charles is great because it's big enough where you got everything you need, but it's not too big where you got the traffic and a lot of the issues that come when you're in a huge spot. So it's a great place. The people have been great, very welcoming, and we're excited to be here.